Ah, there you are. Sitting there, trying to figure out your place in this world. It's funny, isn't it? How they all pretend? Pretend to care, pretend to listen, pretend to notice. But you've already realized it, haven't you? They don't see you. Not really. Not until you do something that makes them look twice. You spend your days walking on eggshells, hoping they'll appreciate you, hoping they'll validate your worth. Yet, day after day, it's the same story. The polite smiles, the nods that mean nothing. The way they glance right past you, as if you're part of the wallpaper. You could scream, you could cry, you could beg, but what does it change? Nothing. They've already decided you're not worth their time. Not worth their energy. Not worth noticing. But oh, the moment you step out of line, the moment you stop playing their little game, everything changes. Isn't it fascinating? You stop being a shadow, and suddenly they're all looking your way. Their eyes wide, their voices trembling. You've become something they can't ignore. A force, a presence, a monster they'll call you. And isn't that just delicious? You see, the world doesn't care about the meek, the quiet, the ones who follow the rules. No, they care about the loud, the bold. The ones who dare to shake their little snow globe of order. Oh, they'll hate you for it. They'll curse you, call you vile names, but here's the twist, they'll finally care. And isn't that what you wanted all along? To be seen? To be heard? But let's be honest, this isn't about them, is it? No, this is about you. About shedding that skin they forced you into. About ripping off the mask of politeness and playing nice. They don't care about nice. Nice is invisible. Nice is boring. Nice is forgettable. But a monster? A monster they'll never forget. You've been told your whole life to fit in, to follow the rules, to stay in your lane, and where has that gotten you? Passed over? Overlooked. Cast aside like yesterday's news. But when you rise, when you break free of their little box, that's when the magic happens. That's when they sit up and take notice. They'll tell you you're wrong, that you've changed, that you've gone too far. But isn't it funny how they never noticed you before you changed? Before you decided you'd had enough? They'll call you selfish, dangerous, even evil. But you and I both know the truth. You're not evil. You're free. Freedom is terrifying to them, you know. They've spent their entire lives building cages for themselves, for others. Cages made of expectations, of rules, of what's normal, and when you break out, you shatter their illusion of control. That's what they hate the most. Not you. No, it's the truth you represent. The truth that none of it matters. You figured it out, haven't you? The secret they don't want you to know. That you don't have to play by their rules. That you can rewrite the game, redraw the lines, or better yet, burn the whole board to the ground. They'll call it madness, chaos. But isn't chaos just another word for freedom? Oh, they'll fight you. They'll try to drag you back into the box. Whisper sweet lies about how they care now, how they've changed, how they see you differently. Don't fall for it. They only care because you've become impossible to ignore. Because you've made them care. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? That's the joke. They'll spend their lives trying to make you small, trying to keep you in your place. But the moment you stop caring about their opinions, the moment you become the monster they fear, that's when you truly become untouchable. They never cared about you before because you were safe, predictable. But now you're dangerous, now you're a threat. And threats get attention, they get respect, they get fear. And isn't fear just another kind of respect? You've wasted enough time trying to be what they wanted, trying to earn their approval. Approval is a leash. Approval is a shackle. Approval is their way of keeping you under control. But when you let go of that need, when you embrace the monster inside, that's when you become unstoppable. Let them call you names. Let them paint you as the villain in their little stories. Villains are remembered. Heroes are forgotten. Do you remember the name of every hero in every story? No, but the villains? Oh, the villains stay with you. They haunt your dreams, they whisper in your ears, they remind you that the world isn't black and white. The world is gray, it's messy, and it belongs to those who dare to take it. So go ahead, be the monster. Not because they made you one, no, that gives them too much credit. Be the monster because you choose to be. because the world only pays attention to the ones who refuse to be ignored. And when they look at you with fear, when they whisper your name with trembling voices, when they finally care, you'll laugh. Because the joke's on them. Always has been. Always will be. The speech emphasizes that people often remain indifferent until someone steps out of societal norms and expectations. By embracing individuality and rejecting the need for approval, one can force others to notice and respect them, even if it means being labeled as a monster. It highlights the idea that true freedom and power come from breaking free of societal constraints. Embracing the chaos within allows one to redefine their identity, commanding attention and respect, even if it incites fear in others. Recognition is an intoxicating force, isn't it? Something we all crave but rarely acknowledge. From the moment we enter this world, there's an unspoken contract thrust upon us. Behave, conform, fit in. Do these things and maybe, just maybe, you'll be noticed. But the cruel truth is, the world doesn't care about the quiet, the compliant, or the ones who blend seamlessly into the background. It's only when you disrupt the status quo, when you refuse to play the role they've assigned, that they're forced to pay attention. You spend your days walking through life like a ghost. People see you, sure, but they don't truly see you. You're just another face in the crowd, another cog in the machine. You could pour your heart out, work tirelessly, and give everything you have, but it's not enough. They'll nod politely, maybe offer a hollow compliment, but their attention is fleeting. You're not the one who captures their imagination. You're not the one who leaves a mark. And why? Because you haven't done anything to break the monotony of their lives. You haven't disrupted their carefully curated sense of normalcy. Recognition doesn't come to those who quietly follow the rules. It doesn't come to those who do what's expected of them. The world is designed to overlook the ordinary. It thrives on predictability, on keeping things just the way they are. And if you fit into that mold, they have no reason to acknowledge you. You're safe, comfortable, forgettable. But the moment you step out of line, everything changes. Suddenly, the same people who ignored you are forced to look, to listen, to confront the fact that you exist in a way they can no longer ignore. It's not because they suddenly care about you or value your existence. No, it's because you've become a disruption. You've shattered their illusion of control, and that terrifies them. Fear, after all, is a far more potent motivator than kindness or compassion. They'll call you names. They'll paint you as the villain. They'll say you've changed as if that's the worst thing you could possibly do. But deep down, they know the truth. You haven't changed. You've just stopped hiding. You've stopped pretending to be someone you're not for their sake. And that scares them because it forces them to confront their own mediocrity. It forces them to question the rules they've spent their entire lives following. Recognition is a funny thing. It doesn't come when you're kind or selfless. It doesn't come when you bend over backward to please others. It comes when you demand it, when you refuse to be ignored, when you become something they can't turn away from. And isn't that the ultimate irony? They spend so much time preaching about kindness and humility, yet the people they remember, the people they respect, are the ones who dare to stand out, the ones who make them uncomfortable, the ones who force them to care. You see, the world is drawn to chaos, to conflict. It pretends to value harmony and peace, but in reality, it thrives on disruption. That's why they love their heroes and villains. That's why they're captivated by those who dare to shake things up. The ordinary bores them. The predictable lulls them into apathy. But the unpredictable, the bold, that's what makes their hearts race. That's what captures their attention. It's not enough to be good at what you do. It's not enough to follow the rules and hope for recognition. The world doesn't work that way. If you want to be seen, if you want to be remembered, you have to make them notice you. You have to be willing to disrupt their comfort, to challenge their assumptions, to become something they can't ignore. And yes, that might mean becoming the monster in their eyes. But what's worse? Being forgotten or being feared? Fear and respect are two sides of the same coin. When they fear you, they can't ignore you. When they fear you, they remember your name. That's why the world is filled with tales of villains and revolutionaries, of those who dared to defy the norms. They might be hated, but they're never forgotten. And isn't that what we all want in the end? To leave a mark? To be remembered? But here's the catch: recognition through defiance isn't for the faint of heart. It means letting go of the need for approval. It means embracing the fact that some people will hate you, that they'll misjudge you, that they'll call you names and spread lies about you. But what does their opinion matter? They didn't care about you before, did they? They only care now because you've forced them to, because you've made yourself impossible to ignore. Think about it. Every time you've tried to fit in, every time you've followed the rules, what has it gotten you? A pat on the back? A half-hearted good job? Is that enough? Is that the legacy you want to leave behind? Or do you want something more? Something real? Something that shakes people to their core and makes them remember your name long after you're gone? Recognition isn't about being liked, it's about being seen. And the world doesn't see the quiet, the compliant, the ones who blend in. It sees the disruptors, the rule breakers, the ones who challenge the system. It sees the monsters. And while they may fear you, while they may curse your name, they'll never forget you. They'll never be able to ignore you again. So why spend your life trying to earn the approval of people who don't care about you? Why waste your energy trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you? You have something they don't, something they'll never understand. You have the courage to be different, to stand out, to demand their attention, even if it means becoming the villain in their story. And that's what sets you apart. That's what makes you unforgettable. You've spent enough time being overlooked, being ignored, being treated like you don't matter. It's time to change the narrative. It's time to stop waiting for their recognition and start demanding it. It's time to become the force they can't ignore, the presence they can't look away from. Because the truth is, they never cared about you before. They only care now because you've made them. And isn't that the ultimate power? The ability to command their attention, to make them care, even when they don't want to? That's what recognition through defiance is all about. It's about stepping into your power, owning your identity, and refusing to be invisible. It's about becoming something they'll never forget, no matter how hard they try. Freedom is a dangerous thing, isn't it? It's messy, unpredictable, and utterly terrifying to those who have spent their lives trapped in the confines of rules and expectations. But the truth about freedom is this: it's only terrifying because it forces people to confront a reality they've spent their lives avoiding. A reality that says they don't have to play by the rules, that they don't have to stay in the little box society built for them. And that truth, it scares them more than anything else. When you embrace chaos, you're not just breaking free from the chains they put on you, you're holding up a mirror to the world. You're showing them everything they've been too afraid to see. Their lives, their rules, their carefully constructed facades, it all falls apart the moment you decide you're done playing along. And they hate you for it. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you've shown them what they could be if they only had the courage. You see, chaos isn't the enemy they make it out to be. Chaos is liberation. It's the destruction of everything false, everything hollow, everything that keeps people in line. It's the raw, unfiltered truth, and truth is the most dangerous thing in the world. When you embrace chaos, you're not just choosing freedom for yourself, you're forcing others to question the lies they've been living. You're daring them to imagine a world where they don't have to conform, where they don't have to obey, where they can be exactly who they are without fear of judgment. But that kind of freedom comes at a cost. It makes you a target. They'll call you selfish, reckless, even evil. They'll accuse you of tearing apart the fabric of society, of destroying the order they worked so hard to maintain. But what they won't admit is that their order was never about fairness or justice. It was about control. It was about keeping everyone in their place, ensuring that no one dared to challenge the status quo. When you embrace chaos, you become a symbol of everything they fear. You become a reminder that their rules aren't absolute, that their power isn't as strong as they want you to believe. And that's why they'll fight you. Not because you're wrong, but because you're free. And freedom, true freedom, is the one thing they can never control. There's a reason why people are drawn to chaos, even as they pretend to fear it. It's because chaos is alive, it's vibrant, it's real. It's the heartbeat of a world that refuses to be tamed. They may call it madness, but deep down they know it's the purest expression of life itself. Chaos doesn't follow rules, doesn't care about traditions, doesn't bow to authority. It simply is. And that terrifies them, because it's everything they've spent their lives suppressing. You've seen it, haven't you? The way their eyes light up when they see someone break free. The way they're drawn to the bold, the fearless, the ones who refuse to be caged. They may pretend to disapprove, but their fascination betrays them. They envy the ones who dare to live on their own terms. They envy the ones who embrace chaos, even as they try to tear them down. Because deep down they know they'll never have that kind of courage. But courage is a funny thing. It's not something you're born with. It's something you choose. It's the decision to let go of everything that's been holding you back, to step into the unknown, to embrace the chaos within. And once you've made that choice, there's no going back. You can't unsee the truth. You can't go back to living a lie. They'll try to convince you that chaos is a bad thing, that it's destructive and dangerous, and they're right, chaos is dangerous. But not in the way they think. Chaos doesn't destroy what's real. It destroys what's fake. It tears down the illusions, the lies, the structures that were never meant to last, and in their place it creates something new, something honest, something free. That's the power of chaos. It doesn't just free you, it frees everyone who comes into contact with it. It spreads like wildfire, igniting the hearts of those who've been yearning for something more. It inspires them to question, to rebel, to embrace their own power. And that's what scares them the most. Not the chaos itself, but the change it brings. The possibility of a world where their rules no longer apply. But here's the thing about chaos, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for approval. It simply is. And once you've embraced it, you become unstoppable. You become a force of nature, a presence they can't ignore. They may call you a monster, but they'll never be able to look away. They'll never be able to forget you. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Chaos doesn't care about their opinions, their judgments, their labels. It doesn't care about being liked or accepted. It simply exists, unapologetically, undeniably. And when you embrace that, when you stop caring about their rules and start living for yourself, you become something they can't control, something they can't contain. They'll try to put you back in your place. They'll try to silence you, to tame you, to make you fit into their world. But once you've tasted freedom, there's no going back. Once you've embraced chaos, you can't unsee the truth. And the truth is this: their rules don't matter, their approval doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you're finally free. So let them call you names, let them spread their lies, let them fear you. Because their fear is a sign of your power. It's a sign that you've broken free from their control, that you've become something they can't ignore. And isn't that what you wanted all along? To be seen? To be heard? To be free? Chaos isn't the enemy, it's the key. The key to breaking free, to living authentically, to becoming the person you were always meant to be. It's not easy, it's not safe, but it's worth it. Because in the end, chaos is the only thing that's real. The only thing that's true. And the only thing that can set you free. The journey to becoming something unforgettable is not an easy one, and the road you walk will often feel like it's paved with jagged stones. They'll throw words at you like daggers, monster, villain, destroyer, but those words hold no real power. They are echoes of their fear, whispers of their own insecurities projected onto you. The world doesn't fear the monster you become, it fears the reflection of its own cowardice. The truth is, they could choose freedom too. They could embrace the chaos, shatter their chains, and live authentically. But they won't. Most of them never will. It's easier to stay where it's safe, to cling to the illusion of control, to play by rules that were never meant to serve them in the first place. But you've chosen something different. You've chosen to see the world for what it is and to claim your place in it, regardless of what they think. That's what sets you apart. That's what makes you dangerous. Because you've realized that their opinions don't matter, that their approval is nothing more than a fleeting shadow. You've realized that the only thing that matters is your own freedom, your own truth, your own truth, your own voice. When you stop caring about their rules, when you stop living for their validation, you become untouchable. They can call you names, spread their lies, and try to drag you back into their cage, but none of it will work. Because you've tasted something they never will: freedom. And once you've tasted it, you can't be controlled. You can't be silenced. You can't be ignored. The world will always try to punish those who refuse to conform. It will always try to crush the ones who challenge its authority. But what the world doesn't understand is that its punishment only makes you stronger. And there's a world beyond their rules, beyond their expectations, beyond their narrow definitions of what's right and wrong. It's a world where you can be exactly who you are, without apology, without fear, without restraint. It's a world where you don't have to shrink yourself to make others comfortable, where you don't have to dim your light to fit into their shadows. It's a world of chaos, yes, but it's also a world of truth. And isn't truth worth fighting for? Isn't it worth everything? They'll never admit it, but deep down they envy you. They envy your courage, your audacity, your refusal to be tamed. They envy the fact that you've done what they never could. You've broken free. And that envy will drive them to hate you, to fear you, to label you as something less than human. But their hate is irrelevant. Their fear is meaningless. Because none of it can touch you. None of it can change the fact that you've found something they'll spend their entire lives searching for: freedom. The world will never care about you until you make it care. It will never notice you until you demand to be noticed. And the only way to do that is to embrace the chaos within you, to stop living for their approval, to become the force they can't ignore. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. But it's the only way to truly live. So let them talk. Let them fear you. Let them call you whatever names they want. None of it matters. What matters is that you're free. What matters is that you found the courage to be yourself, no matter the cost. What matters is that you've become something they'll never forget. They may hate you, they may fear you, but they'll never ignore you again. And in a world that thrives on indifference, that's the greatest power of all.